The most important thing that I think accounts for these scenes, for the quality of them, is that in childhood and all through her life, she was stronger and wiser and more courageous and braver and smarter than anybody else she met. If she met her equal, I never heard about it. It was hard. It was very lonely for her. She suffered a great deal for it. She wanted desperately to find at least an equal. What she wanted even more than that was to find someone wiser than she, braver than she, more courageous than she. There was a desperate longing to find that, and she never did. Throughout her life, she never did. She never found an end to her loneliness. But she could create him in her novels, and especially in her sex scenes. In the world of her novels, she for once didn't have to be the leader. She could surrender to a man and find in herself the softer, warmer woman who existed inside her, but whom she could almost never express in ordinary life. She could be without the controls. He decided what they would do. She didn't. For once in her life, she didn't.
You were commenting on Ayn's sexuality and her desire for a man who she could admire and look up to. Leaves sort of a big question. What was exactly her relationship with her husband, Frank O'Connor? Did she not admire or look up to him?
That's not an easy question to answer. It's a very complex issue. Yes, in certain ways she did look up to him and admire him. Frank was one of the finest men I've ever met in my life. He was very much loved by the people around him. I have never heard anybody say a bad word about Frank. Many people didn't understand, however, what their relationship was all about, what they were doing together. He was not an intellectual. He was not many of the things that John Galt was, certainly, or any of her heroes. I have always believed that it was Frank, that person, who was not an intellectual, who was not John Galt, that person whom Ayn truly loved. I also believe she could never quite admit it to herself or anyone else. And over the years, I saw her constantly refer to him as her hero, as John Galt, as having virtues which he didn't have and didn't need to have. He was just wonderful as he was. Not everyone in the world is required to be an intellectual. To be the sort of man he was is a sufficient achievement, in my opinion, and basically, I believe, in her opinion. One of the things she said to me about him, and this was true, in a childhood and womanhood in which she felt very alone and often betrayed, Frank stood with her no matter what. She knew that no matter what the world did to her, Frank would be there, and he would understand her context and stand with her. That meant a tremendous amount to her. But she had to aggrandize him, as I have to say she did with many of her friends, myself included. Nathaniel and I were geniuses. We were to carry on her philosophy and to carry it further. We were said to be things, and she said it often publicly, that we weren't. I mean, we would, I'll speak for myself. I was just fine. But I wasn't many of the things she said about me, and neither was Nathaniel, and it was the same, I think, psychological phenomenon that was at work with Frank. She could not let us be human beings. We had to be something more. And I believe that was born out of a dreadful loneliness.
I wanna go cultivate the tenderness of compassion, we not only stop running from suffering, we deliberately bring our attention to it. Buddhist compassion practices usually begin with being aware of our own pain, because once our hearts are tender and open to our own suffering, we can more easily extend compassion to others.
Home, where I belong, 'cause now I'm just a lonely teenager. When I was 16, I ran away all alone on the stray. What can I do? What can I say? I'm a lonely teenager. Now I'm 17, still alone, wondering if I should go home or maybe stay out on my own. I'm a lonely teenager. I'd love to go back home where I belong. Maybe I'll be alright if I stay out of sight. I want